Hello? Is this thing working? I sure hope it is. Well, if you're watching this is training log 1 of 3. Today I will be teaching you about the layers of the planet. I guess you'll need training if you want to work here. So, first things first. This is our planet, and as you can see, broken down in the different colors are the different layers. Today we will be breaking down each one individually and, explaining what would happen if, something wrong happened, I guess. Okay, so the first layer is this layer right here, which scientists refers to as the crust or the surface layer. Now, the surface layer is the layer that all life thrives on. Well, most life. And it is the layer that we know most about just because, we live on it. Now, right after the surface layer, we have this red ring right here, which represents the fire dimension, but that term isn't used that much anymore. People like to refer to it as hell, I guess. So, like I mentioned before, this is the layer right below the surface, but unlike the surface, this layer is very dangerous. The fire dimension has housed many dangerous entities, like Galactus and Thanos after the snap. And there are only 2 ways to enter this place, and that is a force equal to the power of the snap, and the time machine. Now, these 3 rings right here are very important, and they are referred to as the shadow layers. And when I say shadow layers, I'm referring to the different layers of the shadow realm. So, like I just said, all 3 shades of gray represent a different layer of the shadow realm, and even though they are part of the same dimension, the layers are very different from each other. First, we have this light gray, which represents the surface of the shadow realm. This layer is the least fragile because it's the most stable layer of the shadow realm, and it is also the easiest part of the shadow realm to access. Now, we believe that Mr. Negative is mainly in control of this layer. He harnesses the Shadow Realm's energy to go in and out of the Shadow Realm. He uses his ability to bring other entities with him into the Shadow Realm. Moving on to the next layer of the Shadow Realm, this is the inner layer. As you can see, it's represented by a darker shade of gray. So as you already know, this is the layer beyond the surface layer, and, it's a lot more difficult to access. This layer is a lot more unstable than the surface of the Shadow Realm, but its power is still obtainable. And Mr. Negative has access to this layer, but he's unable to bring others with him beyond the surface. And this layer of the Shadow Realm, protects the layer that's underneath. That layer being the core. So, the final layer, represented by the black sphere, is the core of the Shadow Realm. Now, the core is very important because the core is the most fragile part of the Shadow Realm, and it houses the most energy. Now, this layer is almost impossible to access, and is the most unstable realm in the multiverse. And the only way to access the core is the time machine. So, if someone were to use the time machine to draw power from the Shadow Realm, they would fracture the sphere, causing something to escape. Now here's a model of what would happen to the planet if this were to occur. This is the planet before the Shadow Realm collapse, and this is the planet after the Shadow Realm collapse. But if this ever does happen, our planet won't be the only one suffering the consequences. And what I mean by that is some realities in the multiverse are very similar to each other and share the same features. If a catastrophic event happens in one of them, it also happens to the other. So, if one of the identical realities' Shadow Realm collapses, both realities will suffer the same fate. But the madness does not stop at just 2 realities collapsing. Since there are infinite realities and infinite identical realities, that means that as soon as one Shadow Realm collapses, all of them will collapse, and millions upon millions of realities will crumble. But yeah, you have nothing to worry about, new guy. This would literally never happen. I mean, who'd be stupid enough to harness energy from the shadow realm with the time machine? So, yeah, you have a nice day, and, I'm glad to see a new guy at the workplace. Alright, tune in to log 2 to learn more about our workforce.